Hello and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for World Cup fantasy football content. My name is Dan and Matchday 4 is just around the corner. We get unlimited transfers once again to play around with our team. So we need to be thinking about who we are going to be lining up with in our fantasy teams for the round of 16, guys. So if you are enjoying World Cup fantasy somehow still, please do leave a like, massively appreciated, and do subscribe if you want a little bit more World Cup fantasy content. We've got a few weeks left, guys. Let's get it done. So as I say, guys, unlimited transfers for this round. You can make as many transfers as you want, and you probably will want to make quite a few. Let me show you what I'm thinking for this match day, starting off in goal with Livakovic. So his picture, by the way, is not actually on the World Cup Fantasy app. So when you click on Livakovic, don't get too confused. But anyway, Croatia's #1 goalkeeper is doing very, very well. 2 clean sheets in the 3 games in the group stage and just 1 goal conceded during that time as well. And they're up against Japan, who I don't think are an easy opposition necessarily, but I do feel like this is one of the stronger defensive teams of the tournament going into this next round, and maybe worth going in on him as a bit of a punt. It's kind of difficult to choose goalkeepers at the moment. I think the other goalkeeper you might want to think about going for is Noppert at 4.5 million. I think he is definitely an option as well, but because we're going deeper into the tournament now, a lot of the goalkeepers, a lot of the first choice goalkeepers, particularly those that we think are going to go further in the tournament, are all kind of like 5.5, 6 million goalkeepers, which is quite expensive. So try and find those little bargains here and there where you can. Livakovic I've gone for in here, but Noppert is definitely viable as well if you've only got 2 outfield Netherlands players on your team. I'll tell you now, this team has got 3 outfield Netherlands players on, so maybe that's, something to consider. In defense, here's one of them, Denzel Dumfries. So yeah, we see him once again playing very attackingly, kind of on that right-hand side. Even though he is a defender, he does play very advanced up the pitch. He's constantly trying to make things happen, get into the box, get on the other end of crosses, taking shots on, trying to play passes into his teammates in the middle of the box as well. So we do like that kind of stuff. There is no such thing as easy fixtures during this stage of the tournament, but certainly you would say that USA are not one of the stronger teams remaining in that tournament. You would say that they're probably one of the weaker teams left in the tournament, and that's kind of what we got to think about right now. I know all of these teams are good teams. That any of our players at this point, we're all going to be facing difficult oppositions, but USA, I don't think they've been creating too many chances. I don't think they've been such a great attacking team during this tournament, if I'm completely honest. They've had some energy, but I don't think they have the quality there. So I do think clean sheets are definitely going to be a possibility for Netherlands. So I like Dumfries for clean sheets and potential attacking returns as well. We know he does score. He gets an attacking return for the Netherlands, once every other game pretty much. He really is quite frequent. I know he hasn't done it yet in this tournament, but we are going to expect to see that at some point or another. And it's just about making sure you own Dumfries at the time where he does inevitably get that attacking return. So let's try again now. Theo Hernandez got his rest in match day 2, which was really nice to see. He's going to come back into this France team at left back for this next game. He's only 5 million and he's pretty much nailed on for this game against Poland, who again, I feel like Poland did show some fragilities, and Theo Hernandez has that real nice attacking ability as well. So he's going to be creating chances for his teammates in the advanced positions. So maybe a clean sheet, maybe assists. There's going to be different avenues of getting points for Theo Hernandez. And finally, Luke Shaw, you would say he's pretty nailed on. He did get a little bit of a rest, did come off after sort of 60 minutes for Trippier in that matchday 3 game. So hopefully he's going to be available and, ready and fully fit and ready to go for this Senegal game for England. Only 5 million. He's the only left back, the only natural left back in the England squad. So he is going to be playing a lot, and we know what Shaw is like when he plays for England. He's a very, very different beast. He is an incredible player, so definitely another player that we could be thinking about picking. I don't think Senegal have shown too much greatness in the attacking ways compared to some of the other African sides, certainly. But yeah, Senegal without Mane, I feel like they are lacking in attack a little bit. Yes, they scored a couple of goals against Qatar, but, Who couldn't? Who couldn't? Let's move into midfield. Davy Klaassen is the first player I'm going to put in here. I think it's really important that we do go for some of those kind of cheaper players. We do have to kind of cut the budget somehow. And the real difficulty is with this stage of the tournament is that all of the teams are very good, and all of the very good teams have very expensive players. So when we're talking about trying to spend our budget, we've got to be a little bit more careful and go for some slightly cheaper players, which is annoying, but we just have to. And we can't pick the cheaper players from the weaker sides all the time anymore, because it's not going to be possible, and these players are less likely to advance to future rounds as well, which is something we've got to think about. Klaassen against USA, though. Klaassen playing in that attacking midfield position. I feel like that is probably going to be the main first choice front three for Netherlands for the remainder of the tournament. Klaassen in between, just behind Gakpo and Depay up front. I think that's going to be sort of the lineup that they roll with for this next game as well, just like they did against Qatar. I think that's probably their best choice. All three players playing pretty well, maybe with the exception of Depay, who is still not quite 100% at it, but he's certainly trying to take those chances, isn't he? So Klaassen, again, already, you know, he's got an attacking return every game so far, every match day so far, which is very, very nice. De Paul is in here as well. He's actually providing a little bit of attackingness, I suppose, to this Argentina team, and he is very cheap as well at 5 million. We've seen that he's kind of creating a little bit, taking the odd shot on as well. He's making tackles, and this is going to maybe get us some points. And because he's playing earlier on in the match day, if he only gets 1 or 2 points and you're not happy with that, you can substitute him out. But I would kind of advise to try and get some of your cheaper players on playing first, take the risk on them, and then your more expensive players playing a little bit later on in the match day, if that's possible, just for the sake of those, substitutions. So yeah, Klaassen, De Paul, these are going to be playing earlier on in the match day. We've got Saka up next. I think he is going to be starting this next game. If I had to predict, it would be Saka on the right wing, and then one of Rashford or Foden on the left wing. But I think Saka is pretty much nailed on that right-hand side. He's the most natural right-hand-sided player in that England team, and I think he is going to play. And, you know, we saw what he did in the first game. That was very, very impressive, and we think he could do it again. So, yeah, although I don't think Senegal will be an easy game, like I keep saying, there's no such thing as easy games at this stage of the tournament, other than, I can say some games are easy, but look, all of these teams qualified for the next round of the World Cup, so they're just not easy. So you're going to have to just kind of roll with it and just try and pick some players out who you think are good enough to do it in any game, and I certainly think Saka is that man. Kamada up next. I think it's really difficult to pick players from Japan, but every time I try and pick out a player from Japan, I keep coming back to Kamada. He has been close a couple of times. He has almost got goals in this tournament. Not quite got there, but he is being in the right positions. He is getting the opportunities to get those goals, which is a good thing, I guess. The problem is with Japan in general is a lot of the players that we want are listed as forwards. Difficult to justify that, and at the same time a lot of their players are getting rotated, and there's been substitutions constantly in the matches, so it's difficult to pick out a player. But Kamada is pretty nailed on. He is playing in those advanced positions, and I feel like he's just the best option from Japan to go for, even at this point, even though he hasn't got any attacking returns yet. He just seems like the best player to me for so many reasons still. Croatia, look, it's an okay fixture. There could be a lot worse fixtures than that. It's not like he's playing a France or a Brazil. So, maybe worth a risk at 5.5 million. Like I say, you are going to have to pick some cheap players. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to, fill up your team with your Messis and your Mbappes. And speaking of, here are some Messis and some Mbappes. We've also got Cody Gakpo here as well. The other option is to go for maybe a Giroud in this spot. You could potentially go for a Giroud or, maybe Richarlison as well. These are kind of the attackers that you might want to think about going for. Maybe Morata if you fancy going that way as well. There are various different options you can go for in this Gakpo slot, if you like. Of course, if you weren't to go for Gakpo, I'd definitely recommend going for Noppert as your goalkeeper for the Netherlands as well. We don't know who, at this present moment, as I record this video, there's still 4 games left to play, so I don't know some of the fixtures of what they're going to be, but we've got the fixtures of these players. We'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, certainly Gakpo is a player I'd be very interested in. He is really on fire right now. He is the emerging talent of this tournament, really, isn't he? This is his stage. He is becoming mainstream known. I know a lot of you guys would have known about Gakpo before this tournament, but certainly he's going mainstream now after this, and everyone is loving what he's doing, and he's just in such hot form, and it seems like everything he touches turns to gold. We've got Messi here against Australia. Now, if I offered you Messi against Australia in the round of 16, seen before this tournament started, you would have said, hell yeah, I would love to see that. And that is exactly what you're getting for your fantasy team this week. So although full respect to Australia, they have done so well, but Messi, he looked really, really good in that last game against Poland. I thought he played very, very well indeed. So I think he could possibly, you know, maybe get a goal, maybe get an assist in this game. You can definitely see it happening, and you can definitely see Argentina scoring a couple of goals in this game. And if Argentina were to score a couple of goals, you really do know that Messi is going to be involved in that, right? And finally, Mbappe against Poland. Poland, I do feel like, have shown some frailties defensively. I don't think they're such a positive team as well, which is why I think Theo Hernandez is a good opportunity for a clean sheet there as well. But Mbappe, we know the quality he has. He got that rest in matchday 3, which was so important, and he is going to be wanting to go back on it, try and get those attacking returns, try and get that golden boot. That's what we like about it, and this is a real opportunity for captaincy and a good fixture as well. So yeah, Messi against Australia, Mbappe against Poland, that's pretty good, right? You know, in terms of all of the oppositions that these two players could have faced in terms of giving them the best opportunity for fantasy points, these two oppositions are probably up there in terms of round of 16 fixtures that you could possibly get. So this is looking really good. Mbappe, a player owned by a lot of our fantasy managers as well. He's definitely a player to go for. But we have got more players, and they are on the bench. And they are Costa, first of all. So the backup goalkeeper is Costa. I'm not sure right now who he's going to be playing against. In fact, I am, making a bold assumption that Portugal are going to finish top in their group. I don't know if that's actually going to happen or not. We'll see what happens tomorrow, I guess. But just to get a rough idea, and obviously this is not final. Nothing is final until the deadline, of course. But just to give a really nice template, and I'm sure you probably think this team is pretty boring as well. It is, but yeah, I just wanted to give a template for you guys, even though we don't know everything right now, just to get your brain working, start us off somewhere. You got to start somewhere, right? So yeah, Costa, whoever he's playing against, there is a good opportunity for a clean sheet. I think he played quite well in matchday 2. Portugal obviously going to be the favourite to go through to the quarterfinals as well, which I think is useful. We've got Alexandro there for Brazil. 5 million defender, pretty good. He started the first 2 games. I think he'll probably be rested for matchday 3, which will give him a good opportunity to come back in matchday 4. And you know what? Alexandro has actually been creating a little bit, taking the odd shot on as well, which I think has been quite good. You never know, you could sneak an attack in return. Again, no idea who he's going to be playing against, and I am assuming that Brazil are going to finish top of that group as well. I've got Jordi Alba here, who I've been really, really impressed with. He plays against Morocco. And Morocco, I do think, is, again, another team that is, a strong team, but you wouldn't put them at the top of the list of teams remaining in this tournament. And I feel like there is an opportunity for a clean sheet here. Are Spain going to score a lot of goals against Morocco? Probably not, to be honest. But Alba, when he's on the pitch, he does get up the pitch. He does take some crosses. He does take some set pieces. And he does take some shots on as well. So if you are picking a defender to go out and score some goals, Jordi Alba is actually a very, very good choice for Spain. Again, another player who hits differently for their national team. So although I do think Morocco are a difficult team, and I do think Spain have shown some fragilities, at the end of the day, Alba fully rested in matchday 3. Only played a few minutes in matchday 3. He's going to be ready to go in matchday 4 and ready to try and turn things around for Spain, to be honest. And finally, we have got Bruno Fernandes, and he has done really well in this tournament. Again, not sure who he's going to be playing in the next round, but it doesn't really matter to me, to be honest. He's probably the best midfielder, categorized as a midfielder in this fantasy game, as an option left in the game. Certainly seeing what he did the first couple of match days, with 2 assists, 2 goals, that's crazy, right? He hasn't even played match day 3 yet. Who knows what he's going to do in that game as well. So yeah, plenty of good things to be said about Bruno Fernandes so far. And I think, again, Portugal, we're expecting them to advance further in the tournament. So there's not too many players here. Of course, there will be upsets in this round, but in general, we are picking a lot of players from favourite teams who we feel like are going to go through. So we're not going to be left with too much of a disaster when we reach the quarterfinals. We'll still have plenty of players to choose from within our own teams for the quarterfinals for match day 5. I feel like all of these players should go through, other than, obviously Livakovic and Kamada. Only one of them can go through, I guess. But aside from that, I think we're choosing a lot of favourites here and a lot of heavy favourites as well. And I say that even before knowing who Brazil and Portugal are going to be playing in the next round. So that team to me is looking really good as a template to start you off and maybe get a little bit creative from there. I think some of these players are very optional. I think you can mix things up a little bit. Midfield is probably where I would try and cut the budget a little bit, because midfielders are just so hard to predict who's going to score points. So I don't mind going for some cheaper players in that position. Forward, certainly I would not scrimp on, you know, and those defenders as well. You know, if you can get some clean sheets out of this round, I think that's going to be pretty decent. There will be some clean sheets in this round, because a lot of teams will be playing within themselves a lot more, particularly England. But we do need to pick a captain, and of course we can have two captains in a game, in a match day, as always. Now, I think the first captain is pretty obvious to me, and that's going to be Messi. So Messi first captain against Australia on the first day of the match day. And then after that, I think there's an opportunity to switch to Mbappe if things don't go your way. But that just looks really obvious. Like, you know, two of the best players in this tournament. Are you going to say they're the two best players in the tournament? Maybe not. Maybe Neymar comes into that conversation as well. And Ronaldo fans, I can hear you from here. But certainly these are two players that we expect to do very, very well in this round of the tournament. We're not even really sure if Neymar is going to be available for the round of 16, although I really do hope he is. But that is where I'm going to leave it, guys. That is the team for me. And I think this is certainly where I'm going to be starting my template, starting my draft. And then from here, I think we'll maybe see what the results are tomorrow and kind of make some little tinkers here and there and see if we can spice it up a little bit. Of course, we'll be doing streams and maybe one more video before the deadline as well, and discuss all of this a little bit further. But I really do hope you like this team just to get us started, I suppose. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, please do leave a like, particularly as I am ripping the Japan shirt because Japan had just won. And I don't know, I got quite hyped up about that. Definitely leave a like if you are enjoying the World Cup in general right now, because it is just drama after drama. It's crazy, right, guys? So many upsets. I can't believe some people actually don't like football. Mad to me. Anyway, guys, do subscribe as well if you're new around here. But aside from that, I will see you on the next video /stream/ whatever happens next. And I'll see you later, mates. Bye-bye.